You're watching Minister's Material with Prophet Emmanuel Makandiwa.
And that's a miracle that can be performed. You can fast track time. So when you're praying for the person, you take the person to a different time zone. And you make the person recover. And you bring him back to the normal time. That's what the angel of God said when he visited Abraham. He said, Sarah. He actually said, next year by this time, in the time of life, your wife shall conceive. The angel said, in the time of life. What sort of time is that? Called the time of life. It's because if you read the book of Romans, actually the Bible clearly tells you that Sarah's womb was already dead. Abraham didn't consider the womb of his wife that was already dead, which means Sarah was already in a death situation. Her womb was already dead. That's what the angel is saying, in the time of life, which means the womb has to be taken to a different time zone, where time there is called the time of life. And when you take her womb there, she can conceive. But trying to make her conceive here in the time of death, she can't conceive. So you have to have that grace where you take people into a different time zone. And you fast track what should have taken that person maybe months and months and months. All of a sudden, you can make it happen. But that, it has to be developed. Especially when you know that you are going to be ministering to people with such conditions. There are kinds of prayers that you have to do in that regards. Developing yourself in that area, having faith in that area. And I've seen it happening even before you see me doing that on bones. I've seen it happening in several other things. If I tell you something, you might think there is a day we were staying in Bulawayo in a place called Mahachula. So at our house there, it wasn't finished. And it was too big. So the person that was staying there, he said, if you can come and we share, because this house is too big and it's not finished, and there are a lot of thieves in this area. So one day, I was sitting at the veranda, and then I realized that every night when you look outside, you can't see because there is no light on the veranda. But there was a bulb. So I went inside, I took a chair, I removed the bulb, I realized that it was bent. Then I said, okay, so let me go and buy another, but we don't have a problem here. It's a dangerous place, so we need more light outside. So I went to the place, Mahachula Shopping Center. I think, pastors, some of you know the place. Then I went there, I bought 2 bulbs. And then I came back. Entered into the bedroom, I left one. As I was walking outside now to go and replace the other one, I started thinking. I was just thinking, I opened the box and I started thinking, I said, what's so unique about this thing? What sort of power is it that can just lit up this thing? What is it? So I was, you see, it's madness, really. But I wanted to know the difference. I said, is this the same power that we have? Can the power that we have be converted? Can that power be relevant? Can that power... Listen to me now. What I did there, even up to now, listen, I've heard a lot of things that I've seen before. You know that those 2 places at the back of the bulb, As I was thinking about that, I deliberately touched those two places. Listen to me. Listen. In my entire life, I've never feared. But that day, I saw a flash, and then it went off. And I was shaking. Then I said, let me try it again. It never worked. I tried it, it never worked. I tried it, never worked. I went there, I put it in there, it couldn't work again. Then I went inside, I took another one, I tried it again, it never happened again. But the other one, then I had to replace it, and it was working. And I kept it for some days, that bulb. But for all those days, I wasn't normal. I didn't know what was happening in my body, and I didn't. But what was that? I can tell you this, even if I would want to try it now, it might not even happen, because I tried it. Because I wanted to show her. I said, no, I think I need to show my wife this. It never happened again. It was like, it just... But when you see me doing certain things on people, it's not my first time. It's not my first time. You have to spend most of your time acting as if you're out of your mind, exercising the inner man.
Thank you, Papa. I wanted to know, when I've got anointing oil, I try to use it home. The results seem not to be coming quicker. Even, I remember a certain lady, she had anointing oil, she used it at home and it didn't work. She called some other people to pray for her using anointing oil. The results were not coming. And she came with the anointing oil to you. You used the same bottle and she got a healing. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with us?
God doesn't want you to leave me. Nothing should separate us from the love of God, neither oil, neither death. There is something that people have to get. I remember there was a lady like that on Sunday. She was carried into the auditorium.
That's true.
She couldn't walk.
True.
And when I went to that place, she was lying on the floor. All she could do was to lift up the anointing oil. And I said, open it. Spray it on yourself. Then she started running. I didn't use mine. I used the one that she was carrying. And then it worked. So it all goes back to the issue of even believing what you're doing. Remember, Jesus said, when you say to the mountain, believing what you're saying, it will happen. You have to have faith in what you're doing. If I tell you something, the other side of it, some of you might not even like me. I'm trying to, this whole idea, even of giving you anointing oil, even laying our hands on you, We are just trying to fast track the process. But imagine, if I'm to ask you a question now, all of you here, we are leaders, right? Okay. The anointing oil works. It brings results. But let me ask you a question. I'll never criticize what I've given to you. I know how it works, and I know it works. But have you ever sat down for a moment and think and say to yourself, so when this guy himself, this Makandiwa, when he was growing up, when he was developing, what oil was he using for him to be where he is now?